Hey everyone, we're at Donkey Projections. My name is Eric and we have Lucas as always.
Hey everyone.
Today is October 10th, 2020, and today we're going to take a closer look at the 2020 Senate election in South Carolina. As you guys know, it has been quite competitive in the state. Challenger Jamie Harrison against longtime Senator Lindsey Graham is doing quite well in the polls. Um, you know, it's even. At one point, Graham is only leading by one, and at one point, Jamie Harrison, the Democrat, is leading up by one. So it's very, very close. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a closer look at South Carolina. We're going to look at its history, and then we are going to talk about its
Oops.
impact in the Senate race.
Yeah, definitely. It is quite surprising to see this considering how, deep red South Carolina is usually thought of as being. So we'll be discussing this right now. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Let's first talk about Lindsey Graham because he's not really. Some people don't like him that much, and let's explain kind of why. First of all, when Lindsey Graham was running for president, he was a very vocal Trump critic. I think I remember seeing an ad from Republican Voters Against Trump using Graham's words about how terrible of a person Trump was. Fast forward to 2017, Graham does a huge 180, and now he's a staunch ally of Trump. Quite interesting.
He
Um,
probably he
mhm.
probably realized that that was the direction that most Republican senators were taking to be popular. So he decided probably to support Trump.
Mm,
So it was a very interesting move on him. And now
yeah.
let's look at some of the things he said.
So let's talk about the Supreme Court. So when Lindsey Graham was in office in 2016, he was very much against Barack Obama's nominee of Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland was nominated by Barack Obama, who he was considered more of a moderate, to the Supreme Court. The Republican-controlled Senate, however, denied him a hearing, a confirmation hearing at all, and that appointment kind of died out eventually because the Republicans made the case that it's not fair. It's an election year. We need to wait until the next president's elected to decide. And this happened in 2016, March of 2016. So that was like a couple months before the November election.
Couple of months.
Yeah, months. And I think the reason why they did that was because there was kind of a precedent set that you don't appoint a Supreme Court justice in a presidential election year. And this is where we get the famous quote from Lindsey Graham. I want you to use my words against me. And he said something along the lines of, if there's a Republican president in 2020, whether it's Ted Cruz or Donald Trump, he would let the next president decide.
He was
Wow.
very, and in fact, too specific on that because now it bit him in the rear end, and we can explain that right now.
Just wow. There was actually a debate between Harrison and Graham where Harrison compared him to his son and talked about how it's like how he's playing Monopoly with his son because he's changing the rules every time to benefit him. So it's definitely an interesting scenario to see. If you want some more information here, essentially Donald Trump has appointed Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court following the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was considered a very liberal justice. Barrett, on the other hand, is considered to be pretty conservative. She's an originalist. And Graham has said that he would support her. So a lot of calling out of hypocrisy here. A lot of people
Yeah.
calling him hypocritical.
hmm And yeah, Jamie Harrison is using this to his advantage. And because Lindsey Graham is also a supporter of Donald Trump, and at the moment, Donald Trump is having a bit more of a difficult time now getting reelected when he's, having coronavirus and, the pandemic within itself and the Black Lives Matter protests, it really took a toll on him. And Lindsey Graham supporting Donald Trump, this is the Lindsey Graham 2.0 who supports Donald Trump. Jamie Harrison, in fact, says that it's going to be easier to run against this type of Lindsey Graham since Donald Trump is at the moment, right now, not in the best shape. Now let's take a look at some polls.
Yep, Eric, why don't you dig into it?
So as I said in the intro, look at this. BC pollster GBAO, they kind of lean to the left a little, so it's no surprise.
Yeah, they are. I believe they are a Democratic internal pollster, I believe. Same for Data for Progress.
So Harrison +1, and then we have a B- pollster here, Graham +1. And then Quinnipiac released a poll that was even. So accounting for the bias, this race is essentially even. And it's very interesting because, as Lucas said, South Carolina is a pretty conservative state. In 2012, Mitt Romney took it by 10 points. In 2016, Donald Trump took the state by nearly 15 points. Was it like 14.9 something? So this is a pretty conservative state with a very conservative foundation. And that Jamie Harrison is polling even with Lindsey Graham is very, very impressive. And he didn't even have that much political experience before versus Lindsey Graham, who's been in the Senate for quite a while. What Jamie Harrison has to do, and we'll talk about this later, he has to maximize the margins and he has to increase turnout.
Yeah, interesting. I don't think I would necessarily say it was even, in my opinion. I think it's like a slight lead for Graham here, and I think that lead is a little bit bigger considering other factors here as well. But absolutely, this is very competitive now. And I was looking at this before the episode as well, looking at past pollsters, 2019.
According to the polls, it's even. Yeah.
Look at this. In 2019, up 23. February, up 13. A+ pollster, up 17, Lindsey Graham.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we've got to take into account before Corona, before BLM, before his hypocrisy kind of went to the surface. So we can see a clear and pretty logical downturn for him.
We actually made a video a couple months ago, I believe, in August, talking about this pollster showing even. And we thought that was a one case type of thing, but we're seeing a pattern showing that it might actually be competitive. Since August, we haven't seen the biggest lead Graham has had here is 3 points, which is really minimal. So this has been really interesting to see these new pollsters out. All right, so we did want to pull up the 2016 presidential election. Yeah, we just wanted to take a look at some of these counties type of things. So South Carolina is quite interesting in that most of it is pretty conservative. There is a district here that is pretty Democratic. That is Jim Clyburn's district, who, if you don't know, he is the majority whip of the House of Representatives.
Correct.
However, South Carolina actually does have another Democratic member in the House of Representatives. He's Joe Cunningham. He's probably the most moderate Democrat in the House right now because he is in a pretty he's in a pretty Republican district right now. But taking a look at this counties wise, clearly it does seem to be, I don't think there's really that many swing districts. So what would you say? I'm sorry, swing counties. What would you say, Eric?
Yeah, and also let's take a look. Wikipedia also shows how Greenville County is the biggest county in South Carolina, and it's a Republican county. So as I said before, South Carolina does have a pretty conservative foundation, along with a lot of other states in the South. So the fact that someone is even coming close, especially considering that the majority of the counties in the state are Republican, you don't see that too often.
And I think there are a couple of swing counties, but mostly it is going to be about margins here. Regarding the demographics of South Carolina, there is a pretty high African American electorate here. However, I don't think turnout has really been that high from them. I think what Jamie Harrison needs to do here, if he wants to win, is to turn out the African American voters to vote in this election. I do remember seeing an interview that Jamie Harrison had talking about this, and that how he does want to kind of aim for doing that in order to win this election. So according to Wikipedia's averages, Jamie Harrison is actually ahead in the polls. So I'm not sure how they're figuring this out. But I think it definitely has clearly narrowed up recently. And what I was showing Eric, and this is really interesting, this is the South Carolina Senate election, the ratings that the experts gave. Let's compare this to Montana. This is the Montana Senate race. This is
Double Steves.
It was considered to be more competitive than, one of the most competitive races. But look at how similar the ratings are. Look at that. There's essentially very, very minimal difference. Remember, this is the Montana one. This is South Carolina.
Mhm.
Isn't that really interesting?
Very, very interesting.
I think we got to keep a look at this. Keep an eye on the South Carolina race for sure. Like, I don't think that Graham will lose necessarily, but it sure has become super, super competitive. And something else to mention is that Jamie Harrison has been considered a fundraising powerhouse. He's, raised a lot of money that he can use for his campaign. And we might discuss Montana later because it does seem to be looking pretty good for Steve Daines right now.
And partly maybe the reason why funding is at an all-time high is because the interest right now in general regarding elections and voting is very, very high. Now when we're very, very close, less than 30 days, which I still can't even imagine, that we're less than 30 days into election, interest among people who aren't even interested in politics, not like us, even they're interested about what's going on, who supports what. And, when they support a side, they might want to chip in a few bucks, which is maybe why fundraising is at an all-time high, because interest overall is very high.
Very interesting point made there, Eric. I'm actually plotting out the map right now, ignoring the margins. Talking about Iowa, honestly, I'm thinking it's going blue right now, but it's incredibly close.
Yes, at the moment, Iowa is looking pretty good for Greenfield, but it's still very
Although,
close.
yeah, it is really anyone's game here. So we're gonna actually put this one as blue for now.
Montana's replacement.
Yeah, I guess so. I feel like in the event that South Carolina does go blue, which again is really not that likely right now, I think Montana would also go blue.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and if that's the case, that's 53-47. That's a pretty darn good majority there,
Yes.
considering that there are a lot of moderate members of the Democratic Party that might not be able to push through some of that Democratic agenda. So looking at it right now,
yes. And, Alabama, Doug Jones is likely going to be voted out. There are a lot of options that could replace that and still give Democrats a little bit of a push.
So, I mean, the South Carolina race is important in that it can solidify a Democratic majority, but at the end of the day, it's not really that necessary. What the Democrats have right now in the Senate is very good. And that is the end of the video for today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you like our content, please subscribe. We haven't uploaded in a while again, so I don't know when we'll upload again. I think maybe a double upload today, but we'll see. We'll see you in our next episode today.
See ya.